How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Infinite Sports here on this Tuesday to recap the Eastern Conference Semifinals Game 6 between the Knicks and the Celtics. The Knicks get the win. They move on to the conference finals for the first time in 25 years. And we got the full crew for this, myself and Ben, Kenneth Gruenfelder, Ben Upson. You know it. You know us as Infinite Sports. Ben, it was a great weekend in New York sports if you were a Knicks fan and if you were a Yankee fan. We'll talk about the Subway Series a little bit. I did put out a video last night late about the series. Ben, if you have any thoughts on that, you can throw it in. But yeah, with the Knicks, so I was at the game, the first game of the Subway Series. So I watched it when I came home. So I was up till 2 in the morning rewatching the game. And obviously, you know, we were keeping tabs on it throughout the game while I was at the Subway Series game. They put it up on the Jumbotron. I could not believe the lead that the Knicks jumped out to. And when I rewatched the game, you know, both teams shot the ball poorly in the first half, or in the first quarter, rather. But then the Knicks, I mean, they came alive in the second quarter. They outscored the Celtics 38-17. And we talked about this constantly. When you have all five starters contributing, the Knicks could beat anybody. And that's exactly what happened in this game. You saw Karl Anthony Towns attacking the basket. I mean, he got the game started off with that tough 2-point shot to open up the game. Mikal Bridges was hitting threes. OG Anunoby had a good game. Josh Hart was all over the place, as he always is. And Brunson, of course, had a good game as well. And even off the bench, Mitchell Robinson, Deuce McBride. I mean, Deuce McBride has that block, and then that leads to the transition where Josh Hart hits that and one. And I feel like that was the turning point of the game. That's really when the Knicks went full throttle and they took the Celtics completely out of the game. And you also had Mitchell Robinson. The Knicks were getting back on defense. You know, Drew Holiday is driving to the basket. Cat and Mitch go after him. And then all of a sudden, Jalen Brown is wide open from three. And Mitch gets back, and he's able to block Jalen Brown. And they're not able to get a shot off. And it was a great game. This was finally a game where the Knicks were able to take over and win comfortably. Now, I wouldn't say this was a normal win because the Knicks aren't going to blow out their opponents like this. But, I mean, I'll take it. I will take it. We were nervous after Game 5 because the Celtics, they played really well in that game at home. And, the Knicks came out with a different kind of energy, with urgency. They got the win. And this margin of victory was the largest in franchise postseason history. 38 points. They win 119-81, and they will be playing the Pacers on Wednesday. So, I'm really excited about this. Ben, what were your thoughts from this game from Friday?
Well, there's no other way to put it other than just really complete satisfaction with what the Knicks put on display in that game. I mean, they were flying all over the place. They came out at home and did what they had to do, which was close out the series. And remember all the talk going in about how, what if the Knicks don't win this game? And what if there's a game 7? And then all of a sudden, that second quarter comes around and they're up by 27 at the half. It was a complete 180 because all of a sudden it's like, wait, the Knicks are the ones with a huge lead at the half. They haven't had this all series. It was fantastic. And you alluded to Deuce McBride. I give Deuce McBride the a good contribution award for that game in Game 6 because, like you said, that massive block on, I think it was Jalen Brown that led to the Josh Hart and one, like you said, and then the buzzer beater at the end of the half, which was really a fitting end to what was a miserable first half and a miserable game for the Boston Celtics. The thing is, like you said, balanced scoring with this team is going to be absolutely crucial against Indiana. When all 5 of your starters are in double digits for the game. I mean, Bridges, Anunoby, Towns, and Brunson all had north of 20 points in this game. That's going to help you win a lot of games. And they came out and kicked it into high gear. I mean, Boston never really had a chance. I mean, the closest that it was Knicks were up 6 after the first, and then after that they were like a rocket ship. They just took off, and Boston never got back in it. And I think the thing that's pretty interesting, not to say that the game wasn't over by this point, but it was like I think 25 or 30 points like toward the end of the third quarter, and Joe Mazzulla pulled all his starters with 3 minutes to go in the third. It's like the Celtics were just like, we've had enough, and we're done. And Jalen Brown also, I'm pretty sure he fouled out of the game. Yeah, he did. He fouled himself out of the game late in that third quarter. I just think the Celtics kind of they felt deflated, and they were like, you know what? The Knicks outplayed us, and they beat us. That's just how this series went. And I don't want to hear anything from the Celtics fans about, we didn't have Jason Tatum. Oh, well, you guys are celebrating like you won the NBA Finals. Guess what? We'd be doing the exact same thing if you guys were in our shoes. We'd be saying, oh, my God, look at them celebrating like they've won it all. It's been forever for this team. It's been 25 years since the Knicks last made it to an Eastern Conference Finals. Yeah, you want to get this, by the way? Each of the last 4 times that the Knicks have reached the Eastern Conference Finals, they've played the Pacers. 93-94, 98-99, 99-2000, and this year. And guess what? The Knicks went to the finals in 2 of those 3 previous editions. So who says they can't do it again? Now, granted, there are still plenty of things to look back upon in this series, despite winning at 6. The Knicks trailed for 75% of the series, just about, which is pretty unbelievable.
I mean, they were trailing for most of the first 2 games, came back at the end.
Yeah, except for like the final minute, which is hysterical.
Mm-hmm.
And they definitely need more consistency throughout because Karl Anthony Towns had the off game in game 2, I think it was. Luckily, Mikal Bridges, don't really have any complaints about Mikal Bridges now in this series because he was pretty consistent throughout. OG Anunoby had the down game, and I think it was game 4, game 5. Like, there's little dips here and there that the Knicks are definitely going to have to try and work on going into Indiana because don't think Indiana is an easy cakewalk because they're not. Are they better than the Celtics? Heck no, they're not. But they definitely have a lot of shooters. They have a coach in Rick Carlisle who led the Dallas Mavericks to an NBA Finals.
That's the team that knocked you out last year.
Yeah, and now that's what's interesting about the dynamic of this series. The Knicks are finally healthy. We've been talking about it, I think, in our previous shows, but with OG Anunoby fully healthy, Mitchell Robinson fully healthy, Jalen Brunson, at his peak, and they have Karl Anthony Towns and Mikal Bridges, 2 guys they didn't have last year. That's what makes this series so unique. Like this is an exciting conference finals matchup. Like
absolutely,
it's gonna go 6, maybe 7 games. I would take the Knicks regardless. Like I feel confident in this team now, and I mean, now we're at the point where we've progressed through the first round with the Pistons, where it's like, all right, let's just get through this series and see if you can win the physicality because 2 physical teams. Knicks check that box. Then going into the Celtics, it was like, well, hopefully they put up a good fight, maybe win 1, maybe 2 games, and they win the series. Check that box. Now we go from dream to reality. Like this is an actual reality setting in that the Knicks could go to the NBA Finals, and dare I say it, I think they even have a chance to win it all, even though we have a great Western Conference Final series starting tonight between the Thunder and the Timberwolves. I think the Knicks really do.
You got some former Knicks on those 2 teams as well.
Absolutely. Knicks Wolves would feed families in the NBA Finals, that's for sure. But it's just intriguing. It's like this is now becoming real. The New York Knicks are in contention to win an NBA championship. And I can't believe I'm even saying that or even thinking about it because it's been forever. But just putting that bow on game 6 the way they did, it was a statement to New York fans and to really NBA fans that the Knicks are back.
Yeah. No, I agree 100%. And again, it goes back to we talked about this, how they have been consistently inconsistent. But like I was saying, when you have all five guys in your starting lineup contributing like they did, they can hang with anybody. Now, you look on the other side with the Timberwolves and the Thunder. I mean, the Thunder are probably the best team that's left. They're deep, you know, and we have our complaints with the Knicks bench, but if everybody's contributing, they can hang with anybody. OG Anunoby, 23 points. Josh Hart had a triple double. Karl Anthony Towns had 21 points. Mikal Bridges had 22 points. Brunson had 23. Deuce McBride, 10 points off the bench. Again, we talked about Hakamich. That really wasn't the case these last couple games. He only went to the free throw line, I think once. He went 1 for 2 at the line. But yeah, and it's just you saw the defense, how well they played, getting back in transition. Like they came out, like I said, with a sense of urgency. They wanted to get this done. They did not want to go back to Boston for a game 7 because if that was the case, I mean, sure they could have won a game 7, but we didn't want any part of a game 7. Zero. Because, then it's like, all right, well, now all the pressure is on the Knicks. And who knows if Jason Tatum doesn't get hurt, what would have happened? Like, would the Celtics have played differently? But the Celtics didn't shoot the basketball well. I mean, they shot the three kind of like how they did in the first 2 games. They were
Kenny. They had 100. They had 180 missed threes across 6 games.
I mean, that's crazy. That's
disgusting.
Yeah.
This was the issue with the Celtics. Because they were such a high-powered three-point offense all season long, they don't know what to do when the three ball doesn't fall. And I'm not trying to say that they're one-dimensional, but prime example. Like, you saw in the fourth quarter, games 1 and 2, when they were up 20. They just kept firing up threes, and they were missing every time almost.
And again, go back to game 2. They went 8 minutes without making a shot.
Yeah, and it's just unbelievable to think how the Knicks were able to capitalize on all of those really silly mistakes. I mean, if the Celtics just got downhill and attacked the rim, Karl Anthony Towns could have easily fouled out of one of those games up in Boston. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. Apparently, they just like the three.
No, they do. But you know what? That's their bread and butter, and that's what worked for them last year when they won a championship. And obviously, it's tough when you lose your best player, but. I was happy to see Derek White finally had a rough game. He went 3 for 11, 2 of 8 from 3. Jalen Brown went 3 for 9, like we were talking about. He fouled out. But for the Celtics, I mean, who knows what's going to happen? Because they got some decisions that they have to make in the offseason. Not everybody is going to be back. You could see Porzingis not being on the team next year, Drew Holiday. I mean, I don't think we should be overly concerned if they lose guys like that. I feel like those are guys that they could probably replace. I mean, when Porzingis is on, I mean, this team is just like unbeatable. But he kind of had a rough series because he was dealing with that illness, right? So, and obviously with Jason Tatum being out, I mean, who knows how long he's going to be out. I mean, he could be out all of next year or most of next year. So there's things the Celtics are going to have to change with this roster. But, I mean, I don't think this is going to mark the end for this team. I mean, you're going to still have Jaylen Brown. You're still going to have Pritchard, you're still going to have Derek White. I mean, Al Horford is a free agent, so maybe, we were talking about whether or not he's going to retire. I mean, I feel like that's kind of been the conversation the last couple of years, but keeps coming back, so maybe he comes back again. So, yeah, I mean, things are going to look different for the Celtics next year, but I don't think this marks the end of this team. Things might be a little bit different, but they'll be back. Again, the Tatum injury was just unfortunate. I mean, if he plays in Game 6, I mean, I don't know. Does that make up for a 38-point loss? I mean, yeah, Jason Tatum could drop 50 points by himself, right? So, maybe things go a little bit differently. But, yeah, it was just it was a great night, though, for the Knicks and their fans. And this Pacers series is going to be tough. It's going to be tough. I know you're confident. I would pick the Knicks to win in 7. I think it will go the distance. Last year, I mean, that was a frustrating series. The Knicks definitely could have won it, but injuries kind of caught up to them, and you also had the Nembhard step-back 3. I think that was in – what was that? It was in Game 2. No, not Game 2. Game 3, I want to say. I don't remember. But also in Game 7, I mean, we talk about the Celtics threes. I remember the Pacers just kept hitting their threes, as well. So that was frustrating. But the Pacers are a good team, and they've really made noise in these playoffs. I mean, you knock off the Cavs after the season that they've had. I know they had injuries, and obviously you knocked off Giannis in the first round, and the Bucks. I mean, this team is going to give the Knicks problems. But we've talked about this. The Knicks were battle tested going against the Pistons and the defense they had to deal with there, and obviously going up against the Celtics, the defending champs. They'll be ready to go for this series, and they got to stay healthy. Stay healthy. Guys got to continue to attack the basket, play good defense, and the most important thing, stay healthy. Because we saw OG get hurt last year. He tried to come back for Game 7. He couldn't really do it. Brunson broke his hand. If everybody stays healthy, this is going to be an even matchup. And, we'll see who comes out on top. But like you, I have the Knicks winning this series. It's going to go 7 games, I feel like. But it should be a great series. And if it ends up going 7 games and the Knicks win it, they'll be going to the NBA Finals. And like you said, Ben, can't believe we're saying that. But that is a possibility this year. After everything the Knicks have gone through over the years, and, on social media, you see some of the starting lineups over the last decade that the Knicks have had, and where they are right now. It's unbelievable where they're at, and it would be quite something, if the Knicks are able to get to the finals.
Living through Jeff Hornacek, Kurt Rambis, and Derek Fisher, I'd like to wipe those years out of my memory, because I'll take these last 6 with Tom Thibodeau, or 6 years. I think this is counting
really?
This
year. It's been
that
long already? Wow.
Isn't that hard to believe? Yeah. And, I mean, like you said, Knicks fans deserve to party hard. I mean, my gosh, they were in downtown Manhattan. The streets were shut down,
Well, did you see the video? There was that guy.
Tyrese Halliburton. Yeah.
Yeah,
there was a poor
I
guy
saw that.
wearing a Tyrese Halliburton jersey, and they're throwing trash at him.
Yeah.
It's like, you picked the wrong time to walk through that
Also,
area.
there was that guy that was on, like, the billboard. He climbed up on the billboard.
I saw that, too.
I mean,
like, what's going to happen if this team wins the finals?
That's what I was just going to say. I don't want to be anywhere near the city. I don't want to be anywhere near it. I want to be on my couch watching it.
I wouldn't want to be either. It's crazy. And, you just talk about the health. Can Tom Thibodeau, like, please pull the freaking starters out of a game at a reasonable time? I mean, as soon as the Celtics pulled everybody toward the end of the third quarter, you think Tibbs would let him play out till the end of the third and say, all right, great game, guys.
Yeah, and Richard Jefferson kept saying it on the broadcast, too.
And then, Brunson and Anunoby and Bridges are all great. They're still pulling up and draining threes, and, they're up by 35. That's like, Tibbs, pull them out.
I know, because you don't want someone tweaking something and then, forget it. I mean,
and did you see the looks on his face? Like, every time, like, some random guy on the Celtics made a three, he'd be like, "Get back!" He was not happy. He was
he really wanted to take it to the Celtics.
Beat him down.
Yeah,
beat him down. I mean, I don't blame him, but it's like, you could have let the guys come out.
I think you said this, but
they stayed until the 5-minute mark, but
right.
They could have come out at like the 10-minute mark or the 9-minute mark.
Yeah, I think
like
you said this though, but the last time that a New York team beat a Boston team in a series was the Knicks defeating the Celtics. I think that was 2013, right?
2013.
Yeah,
that was
it's been such a long time.
Well, that was the last time. Well, no, that was the last time the two of them played each other. And yes, the Knicks did win that series. But the last time, if you really want to go with Boston, New York as a whole, it was yeah, you're right. Because never mind.
Well, I was
forget that. You're right.
Well, I started thinking hockey. I was like, did the Rangers beat the Bruins? That's between that time. I guess not. They never really played them in the playoffs.
Not in the playoffs.
Yeah.
No, that's right. I totally forgot because the Red Sox beat the Yankees in 2018 and the 2021 wild card. Bronx City Boombox.
Yeah. We don't have to talk about that. We were watching that at school.
So, yeah,
we don't need to rehash that.
That was the last time then. Because I mean the Giants came close to beating the Patriots in 2015, and then they lost.
Yeah, but that wasn't in the playoffs. Yeah. Yes, that was 2019. Yeah, that was Daniel Jones' rookie year. Yep.
That's true. That was all regular season though. I know it's been 12 years. So think about that. The Celtics haven't beat the Knicks now in these last. So we're 2-0 against the Celtics in playoff series dating back to 2013.
That's right.
I don't know about the history before that. I don't think it's that great, but okay. All that matters is the here and the now.
That's right.
And the Knicks are in the Eastern Conference Finals. And you talk about fitting, Kevin Harlan and Reggie Miller get to take the NBA on TNT out with Knicks Pacers. How fitting of a storybook ending to the NBA on TNT.
I know. Listen, I love when Kevin Harlan is doing the Knicks games because, I mean, how many times we've been watching him over the years, and, he's doing, like last year when he was doing the Lakers-Nuggets series, and Jamal Murray had a couple of those buzzer beaters at the end. I mean, it's like now he's doing it for the Knicks, and he got to call these first two games in Boston, and with Bridges and him blocking the shots and stealing the ball from Jalen Brown. I mean, it's nice to have him calling these games, and it's going to be quite a series. And yeah, how fitting with Reggie Miller as well. I know I saw a clip from last year when there was the FU Reggie chants going, and then Josh Hart got the mic and said, I don't know if you're hearing this, kind of trolling him there. And then of course the Knicks ended up losing the series. But yeah, it should be fun with that dynamic as well. And I did see that Instagram post of Reggie Miller. He was kind of like shielding his face, walking the streets of New York. Doesn't want to be recognized. But yeah, no, that's going to be an interesting dynamic as well. It should be a great series. That's the bottom line. But hopefully for us, the Knicks come out on top and they get back to the NBA Finals.
Yeah, absolutely. And, it's hard to believe it's already been 30 years since the Reggie Miller choke already. Isn't that hard to believe? and yeah, it's just crazy that one of the all-time Indiana Pacers gets to call Pacers Knicks one more time for TNT. It's pretty crazy. And luckily, Reggie and Kevin won't be going anywhere. They'll be back. Reggie's going to NBC starting next year, and then Kevin Harlan's going to go over to Amazon. So Amazon's stocking up with a big star power.
Yeah, so make sure to get that subscription, everybody. If you want to watch the NBA on Amazon, you better get that that subscription.
Hey, this is one of the biggest TV deals yet in professional sports, I'm telling you, because ESPN will get their conference finals every year, but NBC and Amazon are going to rotate 6 of 11 years. So we're going to, it's one thing for the NFL to put a wild card game on Peacock. We're putting an NBA conference finals series on Prime.
Yeah.
I wonder how that's going to work. Surely nothing will go wrong, right? No?
Well, we got to be positive. We got to be positive.
That's true.
That it'll work out. I don't know if you had any thoughts if you wanted quick thoughts on the Subway series before we wrap up, because I know I did mention that in the opener. If you wanted to touch upon that really quickly, since that was a big thing over the weekend as well.
Yeah, well, I think just really the one quick point about it is that the rivalry is intense as I think it's ever been. Yeah. I mean, 2000 was a special year in New York sports, having that Subway World Series. And, I think it's realistic to say that, on the 25th anniversary, no less, that the Yankees and the Mets could very well potentially, meet in the World Series again later this year. But I just think, every game had its own unique storyline to it. I mean, especially the 2 weekend games stood out the most to me, of course, with Diaz beating out Judge in the 9th inning. He struck out the side. And then, Sunday you have Cody Bellinger getting 6 RBIs in that go-ahead grand slam, late
in the
7th inning, I think it was, to give the Yankees. Yes. No, he didn't. He's on his 13-game hitting streak as well. He's been, getting really hot, and that's great to see. And, I mean, yes, while those 2 games were great, we're also looking back over at the corner in right field where Juan Soto used to occupy, and was back in that position for at least 3 days at Yankee Stadium. And, between the fans turning their backs on Friday and, a pretty healthy, respectable dose of booze, I'd say, and nothing over the top, It was almost, it was like the classic, the hero becoming the villain moment in the Bronx. That's what it is. But Soto didn't really take that villain role because, as he has been throughout most of the early part of the season, he's not been up to his standards. And I don't think this is anything to be super concerned about right now. I mean, I know everyone's starting to say, well, the honeymoon phase has overshadowed Evan Roberts, and like all these other, sports media guys and Mets fans who are, getting desperate. Like, it's like the Mets are 10 games above 500. Yes, they've lost 4 out of their last 5, but they're a team that has had fantastic pitching. They've had Alonso and Lindor and Vientos. Other guys have stepped up throughout the season. So it's not all on Juan Soto right now. But if this progresses, especially with what happened when the Mets went up to Fenway last night to start that series against the Red Sox, and Soto drills one deep off the top of the monster, and it's like watching it, go. It's like those are the little things. You got to hustle on those plays. And people are saying like the Soto shuffle was kind of missing over the weekend in the Bronx. I noticed that too.
It's kind of been missing the whole year.
Remember all the times that he had that going for him, and that was like his unique thing. And I don't know what it is. I don't want to say that he's unenthusiastic about being on the Mets, but something's definitely going on. I mean, and when you go like here's the comparison for you, by the way, between Bellinger and Soto. Okay, Bellinger over the weekend went 7 for 11, 2 homers, 7 RBIs, 3 walks, scored 4 runs. Juan Soto, on the other hand, 1 of 10, 4 walks, 2 runs scored. The Yankees had production all weekend, and they're getting production from Bellinger, Goldschmidt, other guys who they have in this lineup now because Juan Soto's not on the team. And, a lot of the talk is, circulating about, because of this past weekend. Well, what if Juan Soto, what if the Yankees matched his contract, dollar for dollar? I mean, realistically, I think if that happened, he probably would have chose the Yankees. But at the end of the day, Kenny, I'm not disappointed at all now. I mean, after when it first happened, of course you feel like, damn, it's like we really missed out on this, top 5 player in baseball who's, so fun to watch, and he's got really the prime of his career ahead of him. Well, so far, and I mean, I know it's only 2 months into a 15-year deal, it's not there right now for the Mets. And like I said, I wouldn't get too concerned. I'm not. But I think it is just interesting to see that, wow, now right now, Soto's not working out for the Mets. And it felt almost a little bit good in some ways as a Yankee fan.
Well, yeah, I didn't want him to wake up this weekend.
No, neither did I. It just felt good, though, to see them take that series. And, they're getting production now out of these other guys in the lineup. So, post Juan Soto, I can live with it now.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, again, I'm with you. I was upset when it first happened. And, you have to turn the page and move on. And last year was such a special year just because they hadn't gotten to the World Series in, 15 years. And just for that to be able to happen, and with him, being one of the driving forces, he hit the home run in the 10th inning against the Guardians to help send them to the World Series. I mean, it was special, and that's why, it's hard to kind of, forget about it. I didn't, join in with the F. Juan Soto chants while I was at the game. There was one boo that left my mouth at one point. I think it was when he stole a base. But other than that, I mean, I was just sitting there in silence. But yeah, everybody was vicious over the weekend. And, some say it might have got to him, and it probably did, because when you have 40,000 plus people, chanting FU, yeah, it's going to get to you at some point. But I think this Yankees team is really rounding into form, and they're not 100% healthy. They're not going to get 100% healthy because Garrett Cole is out for the year. But, when you have the contributions you're getting from Goldschmidt, from Bellinger, Max Fried, how he's pitching, I thought even Devin Williams made his mark over the weekend too, striking out the side on Friday, and then he comes in and he gets a 1-2-3 inning in the 8th inning, which I thought he was going to blow it when he was going up against Soto, but that didn't happen. So he's looked better. You let Soto go, but, you redistribute your funds and you bring in 4 players, and, the team is in first place. And, they're going to get Jazz Chisholm back. They're going to get Stanton back. And this lineup is pretty lengthy then. So you got to like where the team is at. And, yeah, I think Met fans are frustrated with how Soto has been, and I don't have the numbers out in front of me, but his numbers of runners in scoring position are nowhere near what they were last year. So that's got to change. I think it will change. And this is year one of 15 years. He's going to figure it out. He's going to figure it out. And, you know, I would be concerned if, we're a little bit longer into the contract and he's still not living up to it. But we're in what? Month 2, about to be in month 3. I mean, he's going to wake up. It's only a matter of time. And the Mets right now actually aren't in first place. The Phillies passed them now. But, they're going to get it going. You're going to get it going. The lineup actually has been struggling as of late. I mean, the big guys, even Alonso and Lindor, didn't have a great series either. So I'm not worried. But the pitching is good. The bullpen has been really good as well. So they're a good team. I think they'll be in the postseason. But yeah, I mean, he's in the New York market, so of course everything is going to be magnified, and what he experienced in the Bronx over the weekend is what he's going to experience for the next 15 years. So he's just going to have to deal with that. But look, I think he'll figure it out. So that's really what I have to say. I mean, again, if you want to hear what I had to say about the whole series, you could check out the video that I posted last night on the channel. So.
Yeah, I mean, and not to mention, too, I just think the burden of any massive contract like this really weighs on you. I mean, I think Soto's definitely feeling it. I mean, he said, too, this year that, pitchers are, attacking him differently than what it was last year. Because that's the thing, like, when you have Soto and Judge together in a lineup, not to say that Lindor and Alonso aren't, great hitters, but they're not Aaron Judge. So it's a little bit of a different dynamic there. And I think just as a whole, I don't know. I mean, it's a different system. It's a new adjustment. Like I think in some ways, I think Juan Soto definitely, feels a little bit out of place with where he is right now. And I think it just comes down to that adjustment. And, he's going to need that little extra buffer time to really settle in and get his bearings. And, yeah, I mean, I know you can say, well, it's already been like 45 games. And like, yes, that's true. But I mean, it's just, he's definitely feeling it because the pressure that's on him to perform at such a high level is unlike any other. And I mean, Aaron Judge has never really had much of an issue in the regular season. I mean, look at what he's putting together so far this year. It's like, but it's just so early. It's the end of May. If this persists after the All-Star break, then it's time to really start being concerned. And it's like, when can Soto break out of the slump? I mean, I don't know. But yeah, the Mets definitely are in a bit of a rut at the moment across this past week. This is really their first bump in the road so far this season, and the Yankees have definitely been trending up lately. And like you said, too, about them getting healthy, they will get guys back in this lineup. And Fried has been really unbelievable for the most part of this season. And it's great to see Devin Williams finally turning it around after what was the
airbender is working.
The airbender's coming back. Yeah, that's good. It's good. But no, I mean, I've said it for forever, though, that Memorial Day next week, ironically, already it's the first benchmark of the baseball season. Like from that day on through the rest of the season, that's when it's really go time. Because you hit that 50-game mark and you're about a third of the way through your season. So there's a ton of baseball still left. But I'll tell you one thing, Yankees-Mets was a great treat to have in this early part of the schedule. And we will see you on America's national holiday, July 4th, Friday afternoon at Citi Field.
Trying to go to one of those games. Definitely want to attend them, and hopefully it'll go better than last year.
Cheaper.
Yeah. Yeah. So, any last remarks before we wrap up here?
Yeah. Quick pivot. I'm gonna go to golf just for a second. Shout out Scotty Scheffler. Guy got his 15th PGA Tour win and his third major this past weekend at the PGA Championship. He joins Jack Nicklaus and Tiger Woods as the only other players in golf history to have 15 PGA Tour wins and 3 of them being majors before the age of 29. What a weekend.
See, that's why we have Ben on, because he also could throw in, some golf as well. And that's why it worked for 3.5 years at school, because we had everything, including NASCAR, too. Don't forget NASCAR as well. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. Make sure to check out all the other videos on the channel. Make sure to subscribe, like, and comment. And as always, also apologize for the camera issues I was dealing with throughout the show today. Hopefully that doesn't happen again, but it is what it is. Hey, as long as the audio is good, that's all that matters to me. So if you're listening to it, you didn't experience it, but if you're watching it, yeah, again, apologize for that. But as always, I'm Kenneth Grunfelder signing off along with Ben Upson. Have a good one, and we'll talk to you guys next time.